Welcome back for a new part 1 of the 7th console generation retrospective. Hopefully you enjoyed the retro wave I chose today for the background, but with that said, let's get to it. First, we're going to talk about the first of the 3 consoles of the 7th generation. Now, this is the one that I personally have had the least amount of experience with, keep in mind. So I'm not going to have as much to say, and this video will be a little bit shorter than the next two. So with that said, the first console to be released in the 7th console generation was, of course, the Nintendo Wii. Next time will be the 360, and then the PS3 will round off the retrospective. So with that said, first up, of course, the most distinctive thing when it comes to the Wii is obviously the Wii Remote. Which was weird, how some games would have you play like this, with your buttons and your D-pad like that. Now, I personally was never a fan of the motion controls. I'm going to be blunt honest here. I was never the biggest fan of these motion controls. That's why I gravitated towards the Wii U more than the original Wii. There are some great games, I'll be honest, but sadly because of the motion control gimmick, I didn't embrace it nearly as much as other people did. Though still it is unique and it was groundbreaking for the time, but sadly they pushed too much on this specific gimmick. Luckily, a lot of games would allow you to use like a 360, or not 360, but a GameCube controller, but that was only the early model ones like mine, which had, of course, the backwards compatibility issue, where you could plug in up to 2 memory cards and up to 4 controllers. I do appreciate that about the old Model Wii, which is why I consider this the must-own version of the console. If you're gonna get a Wii, get the earlier model. But design-wise, it is unique in how, like, it would come with also like a little stand thing you could do, and on the back side, it would have 2 USB ports on the back side of the console, as well as you would have other stuff, your basic like power outlet and stuff. Now, surprisingly, this console, I'm surprised, did not have a lot of overheating issue just because of frankly how small the fan unit is for it. And it's actually relatively hefty weight wise, though it may not look it. Still, it is definitely an interesting design console. I think for the most part it looks okay from a design standpoint, but when it comes down to it, I'm just not the biggest fan of the Wii. But these are a few of the games that I can say that I have at least some memories with, or have fond stuff to say. First, we're going to get out of the way first. Even though I like this game, I hate the fact that pretty much it predominantly would only work with motion controls, which is why I'm looking for the HD re-release for the Switch version, which I will probably, because I never beat this game. I never went all the way through the game just because how much I despise motion controls. The first game to mention is Legend of Zelda, that being Skyward Sword. It was one of the first Wii games I would ever own, as well as ever play. And one of the things I did like about picking this up originally was the fact that it included the soundtrack to the game, which was pretty nice. That's one thing I did appreciate about it. But yeah, unfortunately the motion controls kind of killed it for me with this Zelda game. It is a really good Zelda game. I could tell I had real potential and a lot of love put into the game as a whole. But unfortunately, for me, if so far it's been one of my least favorite. I'm just hoping that the Switch version is a lot better overall play-wise, and I'm definitely looking forward to be able to play this game with normal control settings. Next up, talk about a little bit is one of the other earlier games that I ever played. Now, even though this one had motion controls, I will say I think the motion controls played better on this game than, say, Skyward Sword, and that is a game which you can still get dirt cheap, and that is Disney's Epic Mickey. Now, this is a great platformer, and I think it's probably one of the best platformers on the Wii. Keep in mind, this is coming from a old school Disney fan, somebody who loved Disney in the earlier eras under Walt Disney. And I like a lot of the head nods, as well as introducing to a new generation of people that may not know the history of Disney about this specific character, a certain rabbit, which was, of course, Origins was the first real character that Walt Disney would ever create before Mickey, but unfortunately he would end up overshadowed by Mickey. And for a long time, rights were controlled by Universal. But anyways, not to get too much into the story of Epic Mickey, but it is a great game, and it is a gorgeous looking game, in my opinion. It's seriously a fun game, in my view anyways. And I do think it's very much a game that more people should give a chance to. Also, next up is arguably probably one of, in my opinion, the best games on the system. Luckily, you could turn the controller sideways and play it like a normal controller, which is probably one of the reasons I actually really like this game. It was like one of the first 3 games that I ever played on the Wii was the new Super Mario Bros. Wii, which is arguably one of the best Mario games in years, in my opinion. Though I will also defend the 3DS Super Mario Bros. 2 game on the 3DS, I think is maybe the best. But with that said, this is the game that pretty much originally got me to even pick up a Wii in the first place, was specifically for this game. As somebody who grew up on like the Super Mario, was it All Stars collection for the, of course, on the Super Nintendo, as well as specifically favorite Mario game of all time being Super Mario World. So it was nice to go back to the old school style Mario games with this one, and I do appreciate, and I still, on time to time, have played this game, though I've found myself playing more the Wii U version over the years. But still, at least this game is tolerable since you don't have to use regular motion sensors, which I appreciate. Now we get on to like 1 or 2 less well-known games that I came across by chance. The first of which, less well-known games, is the Castlevania fighting game, which was released by Konami. This game is very interesting because it has a lot of characters from many different games in the series, though you can tell that a lot of story elements definitely were adapted from specifically Symphony of the Night, with, of course, one of the main characters in the game obviously being Alucard, as well as also the final boss, of course, being Dracula. And I will say, I love this game, and when I picked it up, like, I kept the price tag on, but when I picked it up, it was pretty cheap when I picked it up. It was $4.99 when I picked this game up a few years ago, so yeah. Not a very high in demand game, which does surprise me. And one of the main things I like about this game is the fact it's compatible with the GameCube controller. So that is one of the reasons I actually like this game versus many other games. It's a full 3D environmental fighting game, so you can move around freely throughout the stage, plus you have obstacles in some stages like acid and stuff to decrease your health. There's a lot of interesting elements involved in this Castlevania game, Castlevania Judgement, and I recommend checking out if you get a chance. This game is still very affordable, and I think it's one of probably the most slept on fighting games of the 7th console generation, in my opinion. Next, we're going to look at arguably probably one of the most, definitely, even though it was not a huge success money-wise, it definitely gained quite a loyal cult following throughout the years. And that was the only crossover game that was released for the Wii. Luckily, once again, compatible with the GameCube controller or the Wii Pro controller. And of course, that is Tetsunoku vs. Capcom, which is a very interesting game. The fact also they used Roll and they used specifically Mega Man from the Mega Man Legends series in this, which I appreciate. Now, it was interesting also they would include characters like Alex from Third Strike in actually this game. Also, they would have characters like Frank West in this game. It is an interesting combination. Then, of course, you have on the Tetsunoku side many different characters from out series and stuff they own. Now, of course, uh, Tetsunoku and everything, like, there's definitely was a lot of copyrights issues, unfortunately, with it because of who owns the rights to Tetsunoku. And because of that, it's caused a lot of issues, and the thing is, we may never see a re-release of Tetsunoku vs. Capcom, which is unfortunate because this is probably one of the most overlooked of the Versus series, arguably. This one was actually I believe, was actually a bomb, a failure in sales. It did not even come close to the expectations that Capcom and, of course, the other company would have, unfortunately. Which sucks because it had real potential. It's too bad, though, a lot of people will have never gotten the opportunity to play this game. And it's actually a really good fighting game, in my opinion. Maybe about the best fighting game on the console, hands down. Now we're going to quickly look at arguably my favorite of the Smash series was released on this console. And that is Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Yes, I'm one of those people who likes Brawl more. Yes, I like the more complexity and a bit more in-depth of the in-game, or rather battle mechanics of Melee. I like that, and I like that also Smash 4 has a bit more depth to the gameplay. It's sort of a perfect balance between Brawl and Melee, in my opinion. But Brawl, where it succeeds, is the amount of single-player content involved in this game. That is why I give this one the edge as my favorite of the Super Smash series, as hands down, is because of the single player content. Because when it comes down to it, I don't play a lot of people anymore because I miss the days of like couch co-op and things like that, local play. I miss those days when it came to gaming. But when it comes down to it, in the end, this is usually the Smash game I will go back to playing off and on, along with Smash 4 on the 3DS specifically version. But it's a great game, and I wish this game would get more love, but it always gets hated on by the Melee fans. But this game, what it did is also it would make it a little bit easier, just because it would help introduce and get more fans into the franchise as a whole. That's where it succeeded, along with being a better game for one person if they don't take it around or go to Smash tournaments or something. This is the best game in the series, in my opinion, then. Next, we only have a couple more tiles to talk about. But quickly finish this up, I want to say also, unpopular opinion, a game for the Wii I like. Most people hate on this game. It was co-done with, of course, Nintendo and Team Ninja slash Koei Tecmo. And that is Metroid Other End. I am a person who actually enjoyed Metroid Other End. It also helped the gameplay aspect that I didn't have to do motion controls, that I could use the motion control thing as a normal controller which I appreciated. Also, yes, I get a lot of people didn't like some of the retconning and the story and everything, but I will defend Metroid Other End, just like I am a defender of DMC Devil May Cry. I like these games. Maybe it has a little bias because I've been a fan of Team Ninja for since the early 2000s. I've enjoyed quite a few Team Ninja games, whether it be Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden, or other games. But this is a game they were responsible for that I personally like, and I think this game is way overhated, just like DMC Devil May Cry. Neither game deserves the hate it gets. It's from the stupid, hardcore old school fans, just like the old school Star Wars fans hate on the prequels. I'm gonna not get into one of those rants, but with that said, yes, I like this game. It is one of my easily, probably top 5 favorite games on the Wii. For me personally, to each their own. That is one thing, a motto I live my life by. To each their own. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone has their own taste. Everyone has something that is their own cup of tea, if you will. But for me, I like Other M, and I always will, and I will never change my mind on that. When it comes down to it, I stick to my guns, in my view. Now, quickly, second to last, I want to talk about another Metroid game. A specific Metroid series I wish would get a HD re-release, but up to now, it's only available on the Wii, and this is starting to get out of control in the price range, what it's going for now. I got this a couple of years ago when it was still affordable. Like, I think I paid probably about $45 for this. You might say that's expensive for the Metroid Prime Trilogy. This game is now hovering around $100. So yeah, it's over doubled since then. But in my opinion, I love this game. And I pretty much always will enjoy the series. But one of the key things, besides the fact you get all 3 Metroid games in this set, I absolutely love the steel bookcase. I mean, it's just gorgeous in my opinion. Easily one of my favorite steelbooks, hands down. If you get the chance to get this affordable, pick up Metroid Trilogy. Arguably one of the best things about the Wii is this specific collection, or bundle. Last but not least, this was the very first game I ever played and owned on the Wii. And that is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which I am an uber fan of Twilight Princess. Now for me, I had pretty much both at the same time. Originally, I picked this up first, though I got out of it because there was too much motion control stuff, so that led me to picking up the GameCube version, which has become my preferred way of playing. Though I finally got a hold of, not too long ago, the Wii U version, and I haven't played much so far, but I will say it maybe is the best version. But for me overall, still as of now, GameCube is my personal favorite. But still, Twilight Princess at least didn't overly rely on the motion controls like Skyward Sword did. And this is easily, I think, one of the best launch titles for any console, in my opinion, because you're getting good quality. Arguably, in my opinion, one of the best of the Zelda series. In my top 3 favorite Zelda games of all time, in fact. But with that said, that is it, just a little bit of discussion, some of my views and things for the first of the 3 consoles of the 7th console generation, though in fact, the Wii would be the last one of the generation that I would actually collect. Next time we will be looking at the 360, released around 2005 if I remember correctly. And then we will, last but not least, look at the PS3. So with that said, leave a comment below and tell me personally, what is your personal favorite game from the Wii U? Which console of the 7th console generation was your personal favorite? Was it the 360, the PS3, or the Nintendo Wii? But with that said, see you soon. Hopefully you enjoyed the retro wave in the background. Stay safe and see you soon enough. Also, I will be discussing the next day or two about the E3 conference and give my opinions on each day over different conferences and stuff. What I personally thought about it overall. But see you next time for that.